All right, let's talk about something pretty game-changing that's happening in tech right now, Agentic FinOps. Just imagine a world where AI doesn't just point out where you're wasting money in the cloud, but it actually goes in and fixes it for you, all by itself. Let's dive in.
This quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? For years now, FinOps has been all about visibility. We built these endless, complicated dashboards, sent countless alerts, all telling us, hey, you're overspending. But knowing you've got a problem and actually being able to stop it, in the moment, they're two completely different things.
And the scale of that problem, it's just staggering. For most big companies, a stubborn 20 to 30% of their entire cloud budget is just pure waste. We're talking money spent on resources that are idle, way over-provisioned, or completely forgotten about. And that can mean millions, sometimes tens of millions of dollars, just vanishing into thin air.
So why haven't all those fancy dashboards we built fixed this? Well, it all comes down to what you could call the dashboard dilemma. Seeing something isn't the same as doing something about it. Engineers are already drowning in data, and another chart showing a red line going up, it just becomes more noise they have to ignore. You see, the real killer here is something called human latency. Think about it. An engineer gets an alert. They have to stop what they're doing, switch contexts, figure out what's going on, decide on effects, actually do the fix, and then make sure they didn't break anything. That whole process, it can take hours, sometimes days. And in the cloud, where you're paying by the second, the money is long gone before a human can even react. Okay, so to fight this, we've obviously tried automation. But it's been an awkward evolution. Understanding this path from simple scripts to the agents we have today is really the key to seeing why this new approach is such a massive deal. First, we had the scripted era. Think of those simple timers that would just shut down all the dev environments at 8 p.m., even if a developer was in the middle of a critical bug fix. Then came the recommendation era, where tools would flood us with suggestions, creating this massive alert fatigue. But now we're in the agentic era. This is where the system doesn't just see a low metric. It understands the context around it. And most importantly, it takes action all on its own.
And that brings us to the hero of our story, the AI agent. This is not just another script or another tool. It's a fundamental shift from just watching things to actually doing things. We're finally building systems that can reason about our infrastructure and manage it intelligently for us. So what is Agentic FinOps, really? It's not just about, automatically deleting something when the CPU is low. The magic is that the agent uses context. It might check a JIRA ticket or look at the GitHub commit history to reason about whether a resource is truly safe to mess with. That ability to reason, that's the secret sauce right there. So how does this thing actually work? It's not some kind of black box magic. An agent has 4 key parts. You've got the sensor, which is like its eyes and ears, pulling in data from everywhere. The brain, which is a large language model that makes the decision. The actuator, which is basically the hands that go and execute the change. And, maybe most importantly, you have the guardrails. This is its conscience, hard-coded rules like never ever touch production, that the AI simply cannot violate. Now, you're probably thinking, you don't just flip a switch and hand over your entire cloud account to an AI overnight. And you'd be absolutely right. Adopting this is a journey, and it's all built on trust. We're seeing companies move through 3 pretty distinct levels of autonomy. You start at level 1, with the agent acting as a janitor. Its only job is to clean up the obvious undisputed garbage. Unattached disks, old snapshots, forgotten IP addresses, stuff that has absolutely zero business value. The risk is super low, and it's a perfect way to start building trust in the system. Then you graduate to level 2. Here, the agent becomes the right sizer. It gets a bit more sophisticated. It analyzes active resources and suggests changes, like downsizing an over-provisioned database. But, and this is key, it doesn't act alone. It opens a pull request with its analysis, and a human engineer has to give that final merge approval. The agent does all the heavy lifting, but humans keep the final say. And finally, at level 3, we have the market trader. This is full-blown autonomy. The agent is like an algorithmic trader, but for your cloud. It's watching real-time spot instance prices and automatically shifting your workloads around to capture savings. This is something no human could ever do fast enough. It's really the peak of agentic efficiency. Of course, this all leads to the one big question everyone is thinking. What if it goes rogue? What about the kill switch, right? Trust is the biggest barrier here, so let's just tackle that fear head on. This is the nightmare scenario, isn't it? An agent decides the most efficient way to get costs to zero is to, well, delete everything. It's a totally valid fear, and any system worth its salt has to be designed from the ground up to prevent that from ever happening.
And here's how you do it. You build a really robust safety net. First, you give the agent super strict permission boundaries. Treat it like a junior engineer who can only touch dev stuff, with a very limited blast radius. Second, you enforce an undo button. Every deletion is backed up by a snapshot, and things are put in quarantine before they're gone for good. And finally, you demand a crystal clear audit trail, with every single action loudly announced in a public Slack channel for everyone to see.
So, does this mean the FinOps team is out of a job? Absolutely not. In fact, their job gets way more interesting. They stop being the cloud nag who chases engineers all day, and they become agent architects. Instead of building spreadsheets, they're designing the agent's logic. Instead of manual analysis, they get to focus on strategic forecasting. Their role that's elevated from tactical busywork to something highly strategic.
Okay, theory is great, but let's see what this actually looks like in the real world. A single case study can make the power of this autonomous action crystal clear. So picture this. It's a super common scenario. A data science team spins up a huge GPU cluster for a machine learning job. The job finishes at 3 a.m. on a Saturday, but the engineer who kicked it off is, fast asleep. That cluster is now a zombie. It's doing absolutely nothing, but burning cash at an incredible rate. And how much cash are we talking? In this real-world case, that idle cluster wasted $35,000 over a single weekend. That's like a junior engineer's salary, just gone in about 54 hours, all because a human forgot to turn something off. But with an agent on the job, totally different story. The agent saw the GPU utilization drop to zero within 5 minutes. After double-checking that the job queue was empty and no one was logged in, it safely shut the whole thing down. The entire process took less than half an hour, saving pretty much all of that 35 grand.
And this really gets to the core philosophical shift here. For years, we've tried to change human nature. We've tried to train engineers to be more cost-conscious. Agentic FinOps just accepts that engineers want to build cool things, and instead, it uses machine intelligence to manage machine resources. It's just a way more effective approach. So as we wrap up, this leaves us with a pretty provocative question for the near future. As cloud costs just keep exploding, companies are going to face a choice. Do you hire an army of humans to stare at dashboards and chase down waste? Or do you build a small, highly skilled team to architect an army of autonomous agents to do the work for you? I think the smart money is on the agents. Thanks for tuning in.